All right, let's just get our demo going of the build system. So this is something I've been working on for about a year and a half, off and on, mostly on. This has been my main uh, baby, and we can see a lot of different things going on here versus other build systems. One of the first things you notice, we hold this ethereal ghost. That is not all that different from other build systems. The main thing that is different is if I destroy these buildables, call them buildables, and I am in build mode, I can see them turn into a ghost version. This is in case if you were to get a rift attack, which is probably a pretty common thing in a lot of building and construction games, open world crafting, survival games. Uh, your buildings would just be gone. And you have to rebuild them, which is kind of a pain. So one of our major requirements was to create these ghosts. The buildables will turn into a ghost version of themselves. I did accidentally turn off collision with them, and so that's a little embarrassing. But yeah, so from here, damn it. So all we have to do is make it where the buildable is actually touching a buildable that could support it. So you can see that we could look way back over here. It will not repair it or return it. So we've got a few different states that we've kind of worked with in the build mode and what a buildable, what kind of state it can be in. It can be created by a designer and starts off in the world so that they can place things around the world. Use the buildables. They are valid objects to be used, just like any other buildable. Apparently, this one was set to not collide for some reason, but anyway, most of them should be normal. Not sure what I did with that one when I was messing around. Oh, that's an old test object. That's actually just a static mesh with no collision. All right. So anyway, this is obviously my test level with lots of different things going on. So they're still interactable, even though they were placed in the world by a designer and work just like a buildable that was built by a player. Um, they can be saved and loaded and everything. What else? Um, so yeah, I can always just return the last buildable I was holding by tapping R. I can go away and come back for interacting with buildables and doing things with the hammer that has nothing to do with building this piece that you're holding. Um, so we have a 3-axis rotation, lots of snapping, and a lot of very smart snapping where the snaps are tagged to know what they can and can't snap to. And then I did not mean to do that. I meant to do this. And we can build however we like, as long as it's touching the ground or another buildable or a static mesh, essentially. That's all we look for. Cannot build around our player or other players if I had any. Uh, and then I think I already showed off the I already showed off the ability for buildables to understand if they are still uh, connected to connected to something. So all of the buildables are connected via graphs. We do a very small collision check every time we build something, and if it and it will either, if it is independent and off by itself somewhere, it'll create its own new graph, and then as things are added, it will add onto the graph. If two graphs are separated because they were connected and then disconnected in the middle by some piece, the graphs will be destroyed and we will create new ones um, based off of the old graphs. Everything. Ghosts don't count as having graphs. We kind of accounted for quite a bit in the build system, and I'm quite proud of it. It is also extremely performant. All of the buildables go into a HISM, hierarchical instant static mesh system, and so they actually all just exist as you can see the defhism container when I click on one of these. So, but this, for instance, I don't even know. The widget is stuck on the screen, so it thinks this is a buildable. Interesting. I don't know what happened there then. So, it was something I was testing, I'm sure, a long time ago, and I probably should have deleted it from my little test level. But anyway, we can see that we just have a defhism container, but all of the buildables do still exist, and we can see them. They have all of their properties, just when you click on the mesh, the actual mesh you are seeing is just part of the HISM container. And the regular mesh itself is hidden. We have to unhide the mesh or show the mesh when it becomes a ghost, um, and a few other things. Oh yeah, I should show painting. So, trying to think. I'm just kind of at a loss here at what to show off. I've worked with this system so long and never had to just off the top of my head um, explain everything. So yeah, we can paint buildables any color we like. This is handled by CPD values in the HISM. We do not we do not I'm not trying to think of. We do not ruin our HISM just because we have to change values on individual meshes. That's the entire point of custom primitive data. So I can send this in. It is read by the material. And while this is not a beautiful paint job, it is a paint job. Anyway, uh, I really want to say that's it at this point. I covered the graphs. We have a graph manager that manages all of the graphs and helps with registration. We add ourselves and remove ourselves to and from the HISM as we enter different states. We can swap meshes as we take damage. Let's see if I can get one of these to take enough damage in a reasonable amount of time. I broke my sword somehow. There we go. I'd spun it upside down so it looks completely messed up, but we can see now that it does have a different mesh than it had before. There we go. So, and those are again swapped in the HISM still, and then we swap them back as they get repaired, and we follow the build states or the damage state that the buildable is in when it becomes repaired. Last thing, I guess all I can think of off the top of my head is upgrading. Don't I have a... Yeah, I can match rotation with V. And then, can I upgrade this? I can't because I have the wrong type of hammer. We do have a tier list for hammers. Basic hammers cannot upgrade. Yeah, and then I don't have the third type of hammer that upgrades that to stone, unfortunately. But you get the idea. Again, all handled with data table rows, basic data, and then mesh swapping based off of what's in the data table. We've covered the build system itself. We've covered repairing. Actually, did we repair? We upgraded. Building, repairing, upgrading. We didn't look at the data table. We can't look at any of the code, of course. That is proprietary. Is there anything else I'm forgetting that is of major value and worth considering? I didn't really show off. Like, you can build a giant structure and have it just built on one tiny like foundation or barely touching the ground and then remove it. I kind of did that with the bridge. And it'll, take damage, not have support, and become ghosted. The only other thing, I guess there is a difference to show when I destroy a buildable with the middle mouse click in this case. It is different than ghosting. That is an actual destruction of the buildable. Is there anything else that I think that's it. Weirdly, a year and a half of work in a 5-minute demo that was kind of meandering and unfortunately unscripted is all I have time for. Yeah, it's been great. I didn't talk about the magnets and magnetization, I guess, of different pieces, or the issue we had with doors, one of the most infamous problems in all of programming. But yeah, I don't think anybody cares about the magnets all that much. It's just a bunch of sphere components where each of the snaps are. and then the I forgot I was spinning around that axis. Um, it's just a bunch of sphere components where all of the snaps are. Each of the spheres are tagged with the snaps that are on the tag, and those tags are constantly looking for matching tags of snaps on other buildables that they're hitting um, on tick. Now, of course, once we build a buildable, it no longer has those sphere components. Those are very particular to the buildable you're holding, and that's it. They no longer exist. They are actually only created when you create this particular buildable that you're holding. They don't exist as objects on buildables or anything like that. It is just an array that the build system knows about, and the buildables themselves don't even know they exist. They just move the buildable around that they are connected to, that they belong to as you try and build. So very simple system. The buildables themselves don't know about the build system whatsoever. The build system is just a factory for the buildables. So anyway, um, yeah, I'm gonna have to say that that's about it. Is there anything I'm forgetting? Buildables, build system, graphs, graph manager, data types, textures and materials, CPD values, HISM, CPD values in the HISM, destruction, structural integrity. Wow. Very well. The end.